Hello. Today, just a quick live. I was actually filming some videos for tutorials and thought I would share to do some Chinese New Year greeting card, like a quick demo of how to do something like this. I just wrote this. This is for my mom, Lisa Choi. So a lot of people used gold ink and they have, like different preferences. And my favorite gold ink for sure is the Fine Tec Gold Ink. I don't know how many people like the Fine Tec. It's my favorite gold ink to use because I love. They have this super thin hairline. I think it's amazing, and especially the gold is delicious. The Fine Tec comes with a gold palette. You can buy them individually, separately, and my favorite is the Arabic gold, which I use a lot. You can see it's pretty much empty, and when you get the palette, it is basically dry. So it's like the pigment being compressed onto this little container and it's dry. You can see it's like nothing comes out. So when we use it, the most simple way is to add some water. Now I like to use a dropper and I just add a few drops of water. So usually this is how I do it. Like I add a few drops and then I will use a brush. I'll show you this brush. This brush is very rough. I've been using this brush for my class demo for almost 5 years now, and it's great because it's kind of more rough and it will help you to stir the ink a little bit faster, and you're not wasting your beautiful expensive watercolor brushes to mix the ink. So I will use something like that. Now you can stir the ink, okay, so the pigment starts to melt. You can see I can zoom in a little bit. The pigment is melting. Now it's not very liquidy yet, right? Now, once the pigment is softened like this, now currently this is way too thick to use for sure. And we will add a second round of water, just a few drops. Now this time, instead of keep stirring, I will just tap like this. Tap. Basically, I'm trying to tap the gold ink with the pigments like this. Now, it still looks a little bit thick, so I will add a tiny bit of more water. Whoop. Okay, like this. Yes, this is moving a little bit more, you can see. Some people say the ink consistency should be, looks like milk, okay, like a full fat milk. It kind of does, but it's in gold color. Now, what we do is simply apply it onto the nib. I usually apply on the back of the nib and then I go to the front. Now notice that I am applying a thin layer. I am not adding like this. Now this is asking for trouble because the ink will drop a lot as you press the nib. So I'll go back to reduce it. I just lightly apply a thin layer like this, okay? Now let me zoom out a bit. So I'm just making some Chinese New Year card for friends. So I want to make one for the vet that helps my dog. So his name is Hans. So maybe I'll say Doctor. You see the line is so thin. Okay. And then his name is Hans. Now I'm not much planning here. I'm just going with the flow. Where the space, where there's empty space, and I am just filling it up. Apply with my left hand. So I'm not putting the brush down and picking it up again, which is wasting time, right? Applying a thin layer of ink like this, the back and a bit on the front. Turning the page if needed. Okay, so Dr. Hans. So I want to write Happy New Year to him. sorry, this part is me writing. Apply ink when it's needed. Maybe you can write Happy Chinese New Year, so it has a lot of space here, right? And also if I give him, he's European, so if I give him a Happy New Year, he would think, why is it so late? Happy Chinese New Year would be a little bit more appropriate. So Happy Chinese New Year. Okay. Now there will be a lot of empty space, but it's okay. I'm gonna add some flourishing later to fill up the space. I really find holding the brush much more convenient. Now, some people don't like Fine Tec because they think, oh, it's, you know, it's really hard to control the ink consistency. Now, as I'm writing, you can see that the water starts to evaporate and the ink is starting a little bit thick, right? Now, if you're living in a hot country or if you have a lot of air conditioning in your room, the water will evaporate much faster. So what I suggest is you can add a few more drops of water to keep it more fluidy. Now, let's say I'm working for an event and usually after, you know, an hour, the ink gets really, really thick. So what I will do is I'll grab a piece of tissue. I'll literally just take out everything. I know it's a little bit of a waste. I'll take it out to refresh, just restart. I will clean my brush, I will clean my nib, everything start refresh. Because as you know, after writing an hour, the ink really will get thickened. Or I will bring a few more like of the same color to the event and I will restart a new ink, like a new palette instead of using the old one. So I just smudge a little bit of gold ink here. I will see if I can grab a piece of tissue and let's see if it's work. Now this card is a little bit thick, so I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, if I did not wait, it usually come off quite well. Okay, now it does come off. Okay, and when it dry, it's less obvious. Now I'll go back to writing. Let me finish this. Okay, let me see. Now you can see the ink is getting thicker, right? Do you see this? Yeah, because as I was talking, the ink is already thickening. Now the simple way that I would usually do is dry off my brush a little bit and I take off a little bit. I take off everything. I put a thin layer. Yeah, this is what I want. I think it should still work. Okay, maybe I'll add the year here because it helps to fill up the space like this. Okay, now we can add some more decoration. I'm gonna put down the brush now because I've done most of the writing, right? So just focus on adding some lines, some stars, maybe some little dots, just to create a little bit more texture. Just filling up the space. Usually when I'm working for an event, I can write this really quickly. And it's a great training for, I think, for anyone who wants to start. Sorry for the noise. It's coming from the roof. Yeah, so I was saying that, what do I say? I was saying that if you try to do this more often, you will feel more comfortable and confident to create pieces like this and not to worry so much. So I would say, you know, just go ahead and write directly without pencil line, you know, or worrying about it. It just helps you to learn to fill pages up. Okay, I hope you enjoy this live. If you have any question, please let me know. I don't know who else is here. Maybe I'll do one more card if you just want to stick around. So I have these simple paper and I folded them into half. Actually, what is a better way is you fold into half and then you open it to write, because it's less moving, you know, it's like more flat to write with. Okay, who should I write for? Apply ink, thin layer. Okay, I will fold it because my camera stand is in the way. Okay, this time I will write to another friend. Apply ink, turn the page, come here. Now, usually what happens is if the ink starts to get thicker, and you would just see that the hairline start to disappear because the ink really cannot run down. But so far it's kind of acceptable. I can still keep going. Okay. Happy New Year. So I would do something like this. Whoop. Big space here. Another thing that I love to do, it's like drawing a heart shape with flourishing. So you can do an S curve. Now this is like an infinity sign, right? So I'm gonna come back and slowly making it shorter and shorter. like that. This is a bit angular. I can put a dot. Kind of cheating, right? So where the angular area, you can little dot, kind of covering it. I'm also writing standing, so to help film this. I'm coming back to the space just to add a little bit decoration here and there. Some dots. And I think the hardest part is to not smudge the writing. And then how's everyone doing? I wasn't really looking at the screen, but thanks for joining. My sister was here. I don't know if she was here still. Yeah, so quite quickly, another card. Thank you for joining, and I'll keep writing cards, and let me know if you have any question, and you can send me DM. Thank you for spending a quick 20 minutes with me.